All right, so the DNC has announced that the October debates are not going to be split into 2 nights. They're going to be 1 night. Okay, so this is going to take place on Tuesday, October 15th. You're going to have all the candidates on one stage together. So that means Biden, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala Harris, Klobuchar, O'Rourke, Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, Andrew Yang, and Tom Steyer, who basically bought his way into these debates. As you guys know, this is kind of problematic. There's already like 20 candidates in the race. And, you know, what they did with the previous debates is they split them into 2 nights because there were too many candidates. They had 10 on one night, 10 on the next night. And this, man, I mean, this is terrible. 12 candidates on one stage. Again, this is not the best thing. I know why they do this, man. They don't have to do this. Always remember that. Always ask yourself, why are they doing this? Does the DNC not have enough money? Could they not strike a deal for 2 nights in a row with CNN? Of course they have enough money. Of course they can do 2 nights in a row. They've done it twice already. But they don't want to. They don't want to because they know that someone like Bernie Sanders is dangerous. They don't want him sitting there and talking to the American public and clarifying his positions and making a case against all this right-wing crap that these so-called left Democrat candidates are spewing all the time about Medicare, about climate change. You know, they know that Bernie has a way forward, and they don't want him to move forward. So they're trying every trick in the book to make sure he doesn't get passed. They will do that, and they have done that. You know, this is not some conspiracy theory. No one is making this up. The DNC did screw Bernie last time, and we have receipts. So don't tell me that the DNC is like this almighty, clean, holistic institution that would never do such a thing and never engage in such behavior and try to, you know, put their thumb on the scale against Bernie Sanders, against someone who represents real change for the establishment. Man, they will try every goddamn trick in the book. Every step of the way. Make no mistake. They've done it and they're doing it again. The DNC has unlimited amounts of funds. If they wanted to, they could split it into 2 nights. Why not just do that, man? Why not give the candidates time to actually clarify their positions, time to actually speak properly, and not turn it into a whole talk show, a reality TV mess, you know, where every candidate is just trying to get a soundbite out there. And no, this is terrible. I mean, if you guys saw Bernie Sanders on Joe Rogan, they talked about it. It's so much better when you can actually just sit down and let a candidate speak on their positions and clarify what they stand for. This is going to be a mess again. 12 candidates on one night. Man, this is not good news. I don't like that at all. It's basically going to be a soundbite fiasco all over again. And look, man, I mean, it's nice to have some sound bites, you know, when Tulsi Gabbard like kneecapped Kamala Harris and ended her entire presidential bid. That was dope. But I mean, come on, man. The whole issue here is that if you let Bernie Sanders sit down and explain his position, he will sway voters. And the DNC knows that. And that's why they don't want to give Bernie Sanders a chance to actually clarify his positions. They don't want to have a long debate where you can have, you know, extensive discussions about policy and what each candidate stands for. They don't want that. And honestly, as bad as Hillary was, I kind of miss the Democratic primaries from 2016 because at least, man, you had 2 candidates running. Technically 3, but you had 2 candidates running, man. Bernie and Hillary. And each one of them had, you know, ample amounts of time to talk. They each had, every time there was a question asked, they each had like a minute and a half to answer, if I remember correctly, which is great. That's a long time to talk and explain something. What the hell are you going to do with 12 candidates, man? Giving each candidate 15 seconds or like 45 seconds if they're lucky? No, man, this is really bad. 12 candidates on one stage. I mean, come on, man. This is just... And, you know, Tulsi Gabbard is going to be there. She didn't meet the requirements last time. If you guys remember, she got screwed by the DNC last time, just like they did with Mike Gravel, you know. All of a sudden, because the DNC, one of their requirements is that you meet the donor threshold, and then the other one is that you meet the polling threshold, which means that you're polling at, let's say, 2% in 4 different polls approved by the DNC. But the problem is one day the DNC, you know, approves this poll and then the next time they don't. They just arbitrarily choose and pick which polls that they want to, you know, consider. And if you're not polling at 2% in the polls that they've picked, well, too bad for you. And this was the case with Tulsi Gabbard. She was polling at the required 2% in multiple polls, but they didn't want to consider them. So they screwed her out of the debate. Probably because she kneecapped one of the most prominent establishment candidates, Kamala Harris. She effectively ended her candidacy with that, with what she did last time. And so that's why they wanted to lock her out, because she's dangerous. All right. But now Tulsi's back. She met the threshold. So the thresholds for this debate were 2% polling in 4 DNC-approved polls and at least 130,000 unique donors. Okay? So these are the same requirements as last time, if I recall correctly. And Tulsi met them, but not in enough polls. And now I think she just polled even more and more. And so she finally got into some polls that the DNC like. So she's going to be there. And I'm sure that most of the candidates themselves would agree that putting 12 people on a stage at a time is just no. It's so counterproductive. So there you go. It's going to be 12 candidates on one night, October 15th. Get ready.